Everybody, my name is Michelle and I am software engineer at Maesn. Today I will introduce to you a new feature in our Maesn Unified API, the Get Async Task endpoint. Here in my screen you can see the Maesn documentation, and we have a section called asynchronous task where you can find all the information needed to get started using this endpoint. But let's take a moment to understand the topic. The question is, what is an asynchronous operation? Well, an asynchronous operation is actually an operation, a task that runs in the background rather than being processed by the server in real time. This means that when you execute an asynchronous operation, the server doesn't really complete the operation at the same time, but instead the operation goes into a queue from server side and it waits until the server is ready to process the request. This approach is really common and useful since it allows the system to handle multiple requests without making you to wait for each task to finish in order to start a new task. So now that the topic is clear, let's understand a little bit better how we handle this asynchronous operation. First of all, in our Unified API, we support different asynchronous operations, such as the post expenses and the post journalEntries endpoint. This means that when you use one of these endpoints, you get back in the response a task ID. So now, to get the status of your request, you can use the get async task endpoint. So you provide to this endpoint the task ID that you get before, and you execute the task. In this way, you just have all the information that you need, since executing the get async task endpoint provide you the status of your request. So everything is really quick and easy. So now that the theory is clear, I will say let's jump into the practice. So as you can see now, I've prepared a small example in Postman. I have here the Maesn Unified API Postman collection. So the goal is to make an asynchronous call and get the task ID, and then use the task ID to make the get async task endpoint. So let's go to accounting. We choose the post expense endpoint. Here we are. Then I have already prepared the data we need to make the call. So I provided to the call the company ID of my test account in Datev. Then I have provided the API key and account key that I got from the authentication to Datev sandbox. Then I provided the file that I want to upload and the expense that I want to create in Datev. So let's just execute. Then we get the response, and in the response we have the data we provided in input as a confirmation, and then we had the task ID. So let's just save this value. And let's jump now on the second part, that is the async task. So here we are. So this is the get async task endpoint. Also here we provide the company ID of our test account in Datev. We have already provided the API key and the account key. The only thing missing is the task ID that I will provide here. And then I just execute. Here we are. We get the response where we can understand what is going on from server side. So we have the status. It says data transfer has been processed partially. So this is really helpful when you provide data, but you're not sure about the data you're providing and you want to be sure that everything is fine from server side. So now you get your status and the information regarding the document that have been uploaded to server side. So that's everything from today. I hope this has been helpful, and we will see you the next time.